Good afternoon, everyone, and happy International Women's Day. Yeah, thank you very much for the introductions. It's good to have met you in person to hear what you do and who you are. My name is Pauletta Sura. I am tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that our customers get to know what kind of wealth products we have at NCBA Bank, and more importantly, that you actually take them up. All right, so I'm really happy to be amongst you today.
Good afternoon. My name is Jane Nganga from NCBA. I am in charge of all the NCBA branches across the country. 93 for now, 95 by June, 100 by end of year. You are welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and a few gentlemen here, and happy International Women's Day. My name is Mercy Kagweria. I head a business unit within NCBA called Consumer Banking. So I am responsible for solutioning for individual customers, both locally and also diaspora banking. Happy to have you here and looking forward to the conversations.
Good afternoon. So mine is Rafael Agung, NCBA Bank. Thank you.
But you've not wished us happy International Women's Day.
Victoria is the honorary woman. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. So, as I said, my name is Nina. I work for the Nation Media Group. Now, as much as we introduced ourselves, I just want to do a quick head count. How many of us are in business, like you self-employed? Hands up. All right. How many of us are employed? Wow. How many of us are doing both? Okay. And how many of us, of course, eventually just plan to move from being employed and you want to venture into your own business? Because at the end of the day, you just want to become your own boss, right? Damn right. Okay. So let me share with you my story. Sometimes I feel like I've overshared this story, but I feel it's very important. I was so excited when I found out that I'm the one who was to moderate this particular session. Because for me, I started a business that horribly failed. Like, failed. I dug myself into a hole that got me into depression. I lost 13 kilograms in 3 months. And this is the reason why I believe is because I didn't have anyone to hold my hand. I didn't have someone to talk to. So let me just give you some background. I'm a Nubian by tribe, very small group. When Nubians were brought into Kenya, they came in to build the railway. So you can imagine, sisi ni watu, tulipatiwa ghetto, tukabaki ghetto, which is okay, yeah? So with my family coming into Kenya as a refugee, and then I was born, there was nothing like, oh, you have inheritance somewhere. And then I also got to see the many children in my family and what they're going through, lack of education, so the poverty was huge. After my high school, I decided to do culinary arts. Because in my mind, I knew if I was to start a business, my cousins who do not have papers will not have to suffer when it comes to getting a job. And in the process, also, we'll be training them to start their own business. Because in Kibra, there's a lot of gang issues. I've lost quite a number of family members because of that. So I was trying, it was a decision I made to try and get out of this poverty cycle that we were in. Haya, nikaenda nikasoma. I remember even my mom told me, you want to study to become a cook? I told her, but yes, you know, these are things that you study when it comes to using your hands are very good, especially not appreciated in Africa, but in abroad. So I went through the whole process, got money, decided I happened to get a restaurant on Valley Road, Tourism Fund building. But unfortunately, just to rush the story, unfortunately, during the COVID-19 pandemic, things were bad. So I lost the business, I lost myself, I lost my car, I lost so many things, yeah. I lost my value as a person. And I keep on saying, people may think that a man breaking your heart is going to give you character development, but trust me, entrepreneurship gives you proper character development. I kid you not. And right now, even when I meet someone who's been in business for more than 5 years, I give them a hug even if I don't know them. Because I ask myself, how did you do it? Because I know what I went through. It was heavy. And thus far, the only thing I do when it comes to business is business news. And I'm still healing. I'm still healing. And that's why we have the very, sorry, I get so emotional, sorry. That's why we have the very able team from NCBA. So ladies and a few gentlemen, allow me to welcome Paul as he gives us, or rather gives us his presentation. Let's clap for him, please. And also just to note, we will be having a question and answer session after this. We want to make it as interactive as possible. Ndo maana nimewafungulia roho, by the way. Yeah, that is the reason why. So let's just be as open as possible. And remember, there's no question that is a dumb question. Kuuliza si ujinga. All right? Take it away.
Thank you, Nina. You know, as you listen to Nina's story, I was just reflecting on my own. I may not claim to be a business person, but I've made enough financial mistakes. I want to believe if I had the right financial advice when I started working, I probably may not be standing here, because I think I should be doing way better as far as finances are concerned. But when I started working, I got what I thought was a good job. The first investment I made was a car, and that was it. I became broke after that. Because we were lucky to join one employer, one of the premier employers in the country, as a group of 25. In the group of 25 was 13 ladies and 12 men. And what happened to us is that we felt really rich and affluent. And we were trying to see how best or how fast can we show that we're actually that affluent. And so the men in the group got into this thought of, why not buy cars? And we all bought cars. The women in the group went to Mlolongo and went to Utawala and bought land. I think by then, in Utawala, you could buy land at 60,000 shillings. My car, I bought for, I think, 300,000 shillings. So foolish Paul, 4 plots of land or 5 plots of land went to a car that I used very well to ferry the ladies around, take them out, and all that. I did not finance that car from my salary. I borrowed a loan from a SACCO, because we thought it was very easy to get a loan from a SACCO, and it was very sweet. Go to the SACCO, get some few guarantors, leave them in problems, by the way. They sign off for you, you get your loan, and here you are driving. Bottom line is, every time my salary comes in, I think the first 13,000 shillings was going to pay a loan. I was not being paid that much. I think my gross salary was probably something like 60,000. So you can imagine. The second round of money goes to fueling this car. The third round of money goes to taking people out for weekends. And the last bit is actually repaying, borrowing from John to pay Peter, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. If I only knew by then, I'll probably have done it differently. And I guess the whole story of wealth creation is actually an ever-evolving story. Every time you go to a wealth conversation, I don't think you learn anything new or anything you don't know. It's probably always a way of introspecting. What mistake did I make as far as money is concerned? What can I actually try to do differently that could actually reorient, my financial path? And so today we are not here to teach any new concepts around investments, not at all. What we want to do is to just focus on, things that could help provoke our thinking around how we see money. And what I'll do is to headline this conversation with just giving some bit of statistics or, high-level thoughts around how men and women manage wealth. And with that, hopefully, we'll get into more intense conversations as to how you can deal with particular aspects of, of wealth. So what we've done here is to have some kind of indicators around how men look at wealth, how women look at wealth. So the first item I've put there, and I guess the whole conversation about wealth, just even before I talk about that, if you think, what is wealth creation really? Wealth is not just having money in a bank account. Far from it. I think wealth is that capacity to do what you want. Wealth is, I'm in good health. I can afford financially. My net worth can support my lifestyle. And I don't have to always panic every time I pass my boss in the office because she might get offended and, orchestrate my firing. Because somehow I've figured out in life. So I love those who said I'm in employment in business. I'm in business and it's thriving. The rest of us, me and Nina, we learn our lessons and, we'll get it at work. So on investments, something that strikes me about, and this is data from research done in the UK and done in the US, and I think it's very relevant for Kenya, by Vanguard, the asset managers, by Motley Fool, another investment advisory firm, and Fidelity. So they certainly have some good bit of information that they are using. But what struck me, the first item, is that women are way more conservative than men in terms of investment. And I'm sure sometimes one will wonder, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? But if you look at the second point, because women are conservative in the way they look at investments, they're actually earning higher returns. And someone asks, so how? But what you probably notice with women, we have these, is it called, an attitude of almost looking for risk where we cannot even find it. We are groomed to look for risk and telling ourselves that we're going to make it big. But women, on the other hand, has this capacity to stay very consistent. So once I believe this is the right idea I actually want to pursue, then I follow it. And because of that, then unlike me who will buy a stock today, a share today and sell it tomorrow, just because it gained by a shilling, ladies generally are gifted to actually wait that long and actually see the fruits of, of the investment, fruition. And you demonstrate that capacity to, as we are told in finance, you need to be risk averse, not a risk seeker. Risk averse is you take a risk only there's an incremental return. I will take a risk because I'm actually, burning. There's a lot of adrenaline running in my system. That's why you'll see a statistic there. If you look at the world of cryptocurrencies, men have gotten carried away. There's 41%. If you look at the population investing in cryptocurrencies, there's a way higher percentage of men looking for those because there's an element of thrill that sometimes people look for as far as investments are concerned. It's not always the case for ladies. Although, of course, as generations are shifting, you can also see that shifting. But what is the value of actually, all these kind of things I'm talking about here? Investment is about consistency. Investment is about setting your sail and deciding what you're trying to go, the direction you're trying to take. So it is clear to me that women are capable of actually, setting that sail and moving and realizing the full value of whatever they're trying to, they're actually trying to achieve. Women, you notice, I don't know whether any of you has a Dow CDS account and has a CDS account with the stock market. I don't know who opens their CDS account every day hoping to see a difference. Every day when I get to the office, I open my CDS account. I mean, I'm invested in a bond or a treasury bill. I don't expect anything moved yesterday. But I have the thrill of keep checking and see what is happening. If I buy a stock, every time a broker talks about that stock, I will go to the CDS account. Women, on the other hand, don't have that thrust of, getting too excited about looking at those things. You know how that helps you? You actually are able to allow investments to mature. And some of these things may look like they don't make a huge difference. But if you're able to allow investments to mature and actually run the whole gestation period, then you actually are able to, to realize the full return of some of these investments. And then the fact that you're able to maintain that calm in a storm, because like especially between COVID and now, some people have churned investment 90 times. Because you can't even tell. The next day, the shilling is up. The third day, it's up, down. And you're always moving up, trying to figure out how do I can guess where in the direction of this currency. So the capacity to actually be steady can actually make a huge difference in terms of your investment journey. I think women are doing a stellar job as far as that is concerned. In terms of spending, because if you we're looking at various aspects that inform your wealth journey, and I know we'll be discussing those in a bit of details once I'm done with this, presentation. In terms of spending, you don't realize how powerful or how powerfully women are running this world until you look at statistics. So, out of the global spend, the women are running with 38 or 32 trillion shillings in terms of spending, literally influencing all investment decisions as far as the world is concerned. So what are you saying? If I look at the total spend in Kenya, and I'm sure Raphael can give better numbers than me, a big chunk of it is actually influenced by decisions that we are making. Whether it's a family-led spending, whether it's your own discretionary spending, whether it's decisions on school fees, decisions on schools to take your kids, mostly, men don't look at me badly, these decisions are actually driven by the ladies. Victor, you will say, no, I don't feel it, but eventually the decision is driven by the right person. And that's why they say women may not necessarily come out to vote, but when they vote, they use their wallets. That wallet is what is driving the economy. What's also important about this, think about it as an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur, if you really understand the trend that women can actually drive the whole spending conversation, then you're also able to figure out where opportunities are actually sitting as far as your investments are concerned. Because anything that speaks to ladies will probably thrive. Because you also know men buying habit is fairly haphazard. And that's why they tell us, they say men are buyers, women are shoppers. We just buy, we don't shop. So if I was trying to figure out what next venture to actually make, with that kind of statistic, it's probably time to think, what can I actually do to exploit this trend as an entrepreneur? And there's a whole host of opportunities that you can actually look at within the women's spending space. Now, something that I put there because I think it's really good to encourage us. When I'm walking to a mall with my wife, I'm always complaining you spend a lot. I don't know, I feel like she spends a lot. But I know each now and then she has retorted and said, do you remember that I spend a lot when you're buying alcohol or when you're entertaining your friends? So globally, it's actually proven that men are really impulsive as far as spending than women. And when I was looking, I was thinking this is a good she for he moment. She to help this he to actually discover themselves, because maybe we don't discover that much. But I know there's a man that said, you know what, because of these conflicts I'm getting with my wife, can I just try to track what I'm spending on these things that I never budgeted for? Let me not give the numbers because it was so embarrassing, but it's actually true that men can be very impulsive when it comes to buying. And what are they buying? Cars, alcohol, gambling, electronics, sports, and all those kind of things. So while women are probably more calculated on what they are spending on, but I'll talk about a different point there, men end up being more haphazard in how they are spending their money. So sort of a big kudos to the ladies, because your spending is actually more well thought out. And so far as it's well thought out, it's actually value-adding, value-adding spending that speaks to the whole wealth creation journey. Because remember, your wealth will not succeed if your your wealth journey cannot succeed if your spending is actually not, managed, in the rightful way. But something to be conscious about, there's something we call the pink tax. Now, pink tax is actually pink tax. So what I think marketers have done is to figure out, because a woman is a shopper, you're able to appeal to their emotions that well, as far as what they buy is concerned. And so there's actually a premium in pricing for most goods that are marketed to women. And so what this happens, if you're trying to stretch your shilling, but then you still have to deal with pink tax, you actually realize there's a lot of scope, a huge scope for savings, or a huge scope for reducing your spending, but that's not happening because you end up paying the pink tax. And this may be in the form of brands that you're buying, the places you go to eat, the kind of, personal effects that you actually buy. So for someone who's actually saying, I'm trying to stretch my shilling, then it's something that you all need to be conscious about. So if I'm in that moment of saying, let me look for alternatives, and I'm very conscious about paying tax, then I know I can actually get a chance of saving 10, 15% of money by avoiding that kind of paying tax. In terms of debt, thank you. So in terms of debt, this one sometimes I find very funny to internalize. That men have higher credit card, personal debt, auto loan debt than women. But credit card may be discussed about, and auto loans relates or links very well to the earlier issue we're talking about. These are the things, it's the same issue that Paul was dealing with when he started getting employed. Credit cards, we are spending on credit cards, not necessarily for value. We are actually spending on credit cards to impress in a big way. And that's how they, they conclude the conversation. That we are spending so much on things that we could as well avoid spending on. But it goes on to say, women are very disciplined in terms of servicing facilities. Men lack the discipline of servicing facilities. And where I can get a chance to skip a payment, I'll skip that payment. Women, on the other hand, are very consistent in that. Although, again, with that, we also notice, statistically, or rather out of this analysis, women are spending longer to pay debts. Now, the issue is it an issue of the kind of pay, or because we know globally there's a discrepancy, a huge discrepancy, or a huge gap between what men are paying, rather earning, and what women are paying. But I think there's also a conversation of actually trying to figure out, can I fast track my repayment? So globally there's that issue. It may not necessarily be relevant to a Kenyan market, but the thought I want to leave with us is, if I'm in a debt situation, am I actually that deliberate in repayment so that I can actually extinguish my debts early enough and probably get to the next venture? Otherwise, if you always have to let your debt run the full term, the interest cost rises. It slows you down in terms of seeking other investment opportunities, and so that can actually impact how then you continue with your wealth creation journey. Some other statistics around estate and retirement planning. Now, estate planning here is actually trying to figure out if I'm gone, who takes over? Retirement planning is ensuring that when I retire, I can live a decent life. Now, one thing that we have to be conscious too, as ladies, is something we call longevity risk. And longevity here is that naturally women are living longer than men. That number could be anywhere between 5 and 7 years, depending on the kind of research vehicle you're looking at. So what then this is telling you is that even as you're putting aside money towards your retirement, then you actually have to plan that with knowing that, your life could be certainly longer than a man. So that if you're accumulating assets, those assets should actually be able to last you longer than a typical man would actually, last from his retirement savings. Strange enough, world over, women are saving less on retirement than men. But there's an explanation to it. One, there's the issue of the salary gap. And two, there's a kind of responsibilities that both genders are living with. Because women naturally are taking care of families and their spending is going so much into that. Now, coupled with a gap in terms of pay, that's causing a lesser, lesser focus on retirement saving. But I guess it's just being conscious from this conversation that I need to be clear. How much do I need in retirement? What do I need to do right now so that I can start setting myself for that journey? So that when I get to retiring, then I've accumulated, enough. They are now saving at the age of 21. I think the advent of Gen Z versus millennials has really helped. And I've not started the journey of saving when I'm 30, whatever number. What exactly am I doing? What is holding me back from actually getting into that, into that saving journey? So what was the value of highlighting these kind of numbers? I think the idea today is not necessarily to come and prescribe this is how you go about investing. The idea today is, if this is the direction that the world is moving, or if this is what the world is doing as far as investment, spending, debt, estate management is concerned, do I see opportunities in terms of ventures, or should I introspect and try to figure out what I could actually do different? And so as part of the next phase, what we